Mr. White, you have summoned Ms. Loving to court to prove you did not father her 5-month-old daughter, Loyal.
Yes.
You've brought a witness to court today who believes he is the baby's father.
Correct.
Ms. Loving, you admit that Mr. White wasn't your only sexual relationship, but say you can prove he is Loyal's biological father. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
So, Mr. White, explain to me your relationship with Ms. Loving.
I mean, Your Honor, we never did have a relationship. Like, for 4 years, I known Tiana. We were good friends, but we were never in a relationship, Your Honor.
But you had a sexual relationship.
Yes, ma'am.
Going on dates.
Correct.
Meeting his mom, calling
Correct.
his mom.
Correct.
You're calling my mom. I'm
Correct.
meeting your brothers. I took you to a
Correct.
family reunion,
Correct.
but I'm not your girlfriend.
Correct. That's still, we had an understanding,
what you
though.
call that?
There's still an
What is
understanding.
that?
What is it? But what did you call it, though? It wasn't no relationship.
Okay,
was it?
so,
Mr. White,
That's not a
you're doing
relationship.
all that, but she's not your girlfriend.
Correct.
right.
Please.
Correct.
But clearly you were in a sexual relationship.
Correct, yeah,
Were you
yeah.
using protection?
No.
No, ma'am.
So
No,
you're
ma'am.
sleeping with a girl
Girl with no
unprotected
protection,
that's
but
not
your girlfriend.
Correct.
Okay.
Wow.
Correct.
I don't know
What is
what.
So take me to this point where you realize she's pregnant. How do you find out?
If I can recall, I was at work, Your Honor, and then she had told me she was pregnant, and so, you know what I'm saying, so when I got off work, I went over there.
Wow.
At the end of the day, Your Honor, you know what I'm saying, I'm asking, I'm the only possibility. She like, yeah.
I did say
So
yes.
I'm like,
I said
so-
yes.
Correct, Your Honor. She said yes.
So she says you're the only possible father.
Yes.
Do you believe that when she
No,
says it?
no, man, I didn't believe that, but I'm still trying to get her the benefit of the doubt because we were good friends, Your Honor. But you know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, I'm gonna be there because I know I had unprotected sex.
But you
feel what I'm
wasn't
saying? So-
there. You wasn't there,
Correct,
though.
correct. Why I'm gonna
As
be
a
there?
friend. As a friend, you still wasn't there.
Correct, Your Honor.
What reason would you have not to believe her?
Because we already had a talk, Your Honor. This supposed to been a one-time thing. Remember, we just started back talking when I doubled back, Your Honor. You feel what I'm saying? We just started back talking.
This wasn't a one-time thing. Prior to that, we were still around each other.
Okay, we was around, but we hanging every day?
No, it wasn't
We
every
took
day,
a
but
break.
we was
We didn't see each other for a year and some
okay.
change, correct?
You're right, but we was
Correct.
still in contact. We was still chilling.
That's correct.
Okay,
And so
We just seen
throughout
each other.
the entire pregnancy, Ms. Loving, you told Mr. White that he was the only possible
not
father.
throughout the whole pregnancy.
You didn't. When did you tell him otherwise?
I told him on Facebook in August that it was a 50-50 chance.
Your Honor, I never knew there was a 50-50
Yes,
chance,
you
Your
did,
Honor.
because when you
Listen,
came
this
to the
how it was,
hospital,
Your
Will, I
Honor.
showed you the message. I showed you the message.
Listen,
He
Your
came
Honor,
to the
this how
hospital
it
when
went,
Loyal
Your Honor.
was born. I showed him the message.
Correct.
That was a
Your Honor,
50-50
this how-
chance.
Your Honor, listen,
Your
Your Honor,
Honor,
I can't-
why tell one man that that's a 50-50 chance and not tell the other?
Yes.
I'm going to tell both.
Correct. Your Honor,
I
listen.
want to understand this.
Yeah.
Take me to the day she gave birth.
The day she gave birth, Your Honor,
You went to the
I
hospital.
went up there. Before I went up there, I got a DNA test, Your Honor. Left the DNA test in the car because I ain't want to bring it up there because I ain't know who was up there. You feel what I'm saying? I ain't want to be rude because we're going to be in my
That was
hand.
rude anyways, Will, for you to even do that. That was inconsiderate. I just
listen,
had birth.
How can it be rude when you don't know who your baby daddy
What you
is?
mean? Okay, I told you.
I mean,
it was
I gotta know.
a 50-50
I gotta
chance.
know.
Okay.
I gotta know.
It was a 50-50 chance.
But I gotta know, though.
But why?
I gotta
why
know.
when I had birth?
Because I'd be taking care of another man's baby.
But I didn't
That's
pin
why.
it on you, though. I
So
never pinned it on
so
you.
young,
I don't want you to take care of my baby.
Let's get some order.
All right, yeah.
Let's get
She's
some
good.
order. Let's get some order.
see that?
I
She's
need
good.
you all
She's
to
beautiful.
talk
Ma'am, she's
one
beautiful.
at a time.
She is beautiful.
I want to understand your testimony. You're saying, Mr. White, that you bought a DNA test
Correct.
and had it in your car.
Correct.
And you brought it up to the hospital the day that Loyal was born because you wanted to know on that day whether this
I
child
walked
was
in the
yours.
room, hey, how y'all doing? Miss Brennan like, damn, Will, you look different. You feel what I'm saying? I'm like, what you mean, Miss Brennan, I look different? She's like, you just look different. I said, why you saying that, Miss? I need to take off these glasses. She's like, nah, it ain't the glasses. I said, why you saying that? Because the baby don't look like me? She was like, it damn sure don't.
So they're examining you.
Yeah, correct.
But did you bring the DNA test into the room?
No, ma'am, I did not. I wanted to do it, but I didn't do it. You feel what I'm saying? I just wanted to have respect. You feel what I'm saying? I didn't know who was in the room. Remind you, Tiana just passed me the baby, so I'm looking at the baby, you know what I'm saying? Looking at the baby, trying to see what's going on.
And when
then-
you looked at the baby, did you feel like it was your
No,
child?
ma'am. She was beautiful, though, but no, ma'am, I didn't.
Okay. And so then did you ever ask Ms. Loving, I want to do this DNA test, I have it in the car?
I said, I got the DNA test in the car, you know what I'm saying? Y'all still want me to go get it? Ms. Brennan was like, yeah. I ain't hear Tiana say nothing, so I repeated it. You feel what I'm saying? I was like, you still want me to go get the test? She said, no, bro. She
I
said,
said
no.
no.
She said, no. I said, why not? She said, cuz them tests don't work or whatever. Or something.
Oh, my God.
No, you didn't?
No, I didn't. Well, I didn't want to do a DNA test because I just had a baby, bro. What you mean?
What that mean?
I just pushed out a 6-pound baby.
And who your baby daddy?
Let's calm down. Let's calm down. Let's calm down.
She yelling. I'm right beside her.
So you never had a chance to perform the home DNA test you brought to the hospital?
No, ma'am.
When you left the hospital that day, you did not know for certain if you were the child's father?
No, ma'am, I did not. I'm like, why you ain't tell me it was a 50% chance? She was like, I did tell you that. I'm like, Tiana, well, you feel what I'm saying? Where you tell me that? You never told me that. She was like, I told you on Facebook. I'm like, on Facebook? I'm like, Tiana, first of all, bro, I ain't looking at no message on Facebook.
We didn't have each other's numbers, so how could I call you?
Correct, we didn't have each other's numbers, Tiana, we didn't.
She sent you a Facebook message?
Yeah. She was saying...
Sent him a message saying there was a 50-50 chance between him and another guy.
Tiana, I never knew about the other
That's
fella.
not true.
Why is it you picked that moment to tell him it was a 50?
On Facebook.
Because I had 2 different conceptions dates, Your Honor.
If you want more episodes of Paternity Court, make sure to subscribe and click on the notification bell. I want to hear from your witness. Ma'am, please stand and step up to the podium. You are Ms. Loving's mother.
Yes.
Okay,
Your Honor.
ma'am, what is your understanding?
Well, my understanding, I've always believed that Mr. White was my granddaughter's father. I know Mr. White and my daughter, I believe they were in a relationship because they were always together. He was at my house or she was at his house, and, you know, me and his mother, you know, we talk all the time. He called me mom. She called his mother mom, you know. One thing about Mr. White, you know, very respectful young man. You know, I love him. He used to get on my daughter, you know, about the way she talked to me. And I just looked at him like, he's a wonderful man. So, yeah, that's why I believe that Mr. White was my granddaughter's father.
All right, Ms. Loving, you got a conception date.
Yes.
During your first appointment.
Yes. I went to a recovery center when I found out I was first pregnant because I decided that I didn't want to have my baby. So basically, this is the center that basically helps you cope with the situation, but instead they gave me a conception date and they talked me into keeping my baby because they gave me an ultrasound. I heard her heartbeat and I couldn't do it anymore.
And when you got that conception date, it leaned towards there were 2 men in the picture.
Exactly. When I got the first conception date, it pointed to Mr. White. I followed up on the OBGYN and they gave me another conception date, so that puts me in the middle with 2 guys.
They then did the calculation and gave you a new conception date.
Yes, Your Honor.
And that conception date clearly pointed to a certain man?
Yes.
Which one?
Mr. Talbert.
Oh. So when you got the second conception date, you said it brought Mr. Talbert into the picture as a potential father, and yet you're saying today Mr. White is your child's father.
I'm confused about both.
Yeah.
So you are, in fact, confused,
Right.
and you really don't know which
Exactly.
man. I'd like to hear from your witness, sir. Please stand, ma'am. Ms. White.
Yes.
You are Mr. White's mother?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. You have doubt as well?
I do. For one, Your Honor, my family has 6 fingers. My grandmother had it, he had it, my other son had it, and my other son's son have it. And to me, she don't look like my son. I mean, she's beautiful. You know what I'm saying? She's beautiful.
Yes,
and
she is.
everything. Yeah. My son right here, the only reason why he took the DNA there, Your Honor, is because from day one, we want to know so we can do what we have to do. My son is very responsible. He's been worried, stressed about it. You know, he want to know. If this is his, we refuse to have ours out there, you know, without us doing anything for her. I mean, why refuse the test? If I know you my baby daddy, you better swab it, baby.
I didn't
swab it.
I didn't
If I have
refuse
a
the
problem,
test.
if I have a problem, if I have a problem with that, if I was her and I just pushed the baby, what do me push the baby have to do with my DNA?
I didn't refuse.
No.
I didn't refuse. I didn't refuse it.
If
I didn't refuse it.
If she,
Ask
if
Ray.
but now you want to
Ladies and gentlemen,
DNA test?
Let them speak.
let's get some order.
if she was worried about it, Your Honor, call the nurse in. Ask the nurse, could she do the swab for her? You know.
Your point is if this is my child's father, and I know this, And even if I don't, even if it's still between two potential people,
Exactly.
if I can get this doubt out of the way
Right.
and make sure it's still medically safe for my newborn baby to be
Exactly.
swabbed, ask the
Exactly.
nurse, get it done, send out for the results, it's over. When she didn't want to take the test that
Right.
day, that just further fueled your doubt. So, Mr. White, you say you have a witness that says he's this child's father. Jerome, please escort Mr. White's witness into the courtroom.
Congratulations, bro.
Mr. Talbert,
Yes, ma'am.
thank you for joining us today.
You welcome.
You realize we're talking about the paternity as it relates to 5-month-old baby Loyal.
Yes, ma'am.
You have had a sexual relationship with Ms. Loving, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Do you believe you're Loyal's biological father?
I do.
You do?
Yeah.
All right. So why do you believe this?
Well, me and Miss Loving, we actually were in a relationship. Relationship was short, about 2 weeks, but over time.
It
you
only
know,
takes a day.
over time, we were
So
friends.
you were in a sexual relationship?
Yes.
In the window of conception?
Yes. I have some evidence here. I got a picture.
Yes,
This
I'd
is
like
her.
to see that. What is this, sir?
This is her baby picture.
And that's a picture of you as a baby on the left, and that's Loyal on the right.
Yes.
And you believe you look alike.
Yes.
At what point did she tell you she was pregnant?
About 4 to 5 months down the line.
Which lines up with your testimony, Ms. Loving, because you say the first conception date clearly pointed to Mr. White, but then when you went to the doctor later on, it established
Put
that there
Mr.
was
Talbert in the picture.
potentially Mr. Talbert as another possible father.
Correct.
Because the conception date changed.
Correct.
So when you got this news, did she tell you you were one of 2 people that could be the
Yes.
father? She did?
Yes.
And were you happy about this news?
Well, I was kind of excited, but at the same time, I wasn't, I didn't know for sure if it was going to be mine or someone else's.
So how involved have you been in Loyal's life? She's 5 months old.
I came home a week after the baby was born.
Okay.
And my family members were showing me pictures of her, and they were saying that she looked like me.
Okay. Now that she's 5 months, have you seen her?
Yes.
Have you held her?
Yes.
Have you spent time with her?
Yes.
Have you helped support her?
Nah. Well, it wasn't like that, though. She already had everything. I asked her if she's straight. She said, I'm good.
He asked you if you needed help with the baby. And you said, no, I'm fine.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, did you say that because you really were fine, or did you say that because you thought Mr. White was the child's father and you wanted him to help?
I was really fine. I was okay. Loyal's good. She don't need nothing.
Ms. Loving, when you looked at this evidence that Mr. Talbert presented and you saw those pictures, did that change your mind, or you still believe Mr. White is your grandchild's father?
When I look at them pictures up there, Your Honor, she does look like him. But like I always said, I believe that Mr. White was the father because that's the one
Who
that
she wants to be the father.
No, it's not that I want him to be the father.
Why do you say that?
She knew how I felt about him, and she likes him. She wants us to be together. Like, she really likes him. And that's where we fall out about, because at the end of the day, you don't know the situation between me and him, so you can't just go off of what you see.
I mean, to be a mother, we have hopes and dreams for our children. And if it was somebody that I hoped and dreamed to marry my daughter, it would have been him. He never disrespected me like some of the people she's been around, and I just loved him. His mother did a great job raising him.
You understand that has no bearing on the biology? Or,
No, I know that.
I think
Mr.
it's
White.
clear that you hope that this is Mr. White's child because of the way you feel about him and what you feel like he would be in your grandchild's life. A good father, a stand-up guy, maybe even marry your daughter. But understand that there are hopes, there are dreams, and then there is DNA.
Yeah.
We have the results for you. These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. In the case of White, Talbert versus Loving, when it comes to 5-month-old Loyal Loving, it has been determined by this court. Loyal's biological father is Mr. Talbert. Congratulations, sir.
Appreciate it.
Are you glad to know the truth?
I am.
Mr. White, your assertion was true. But I do have to say this. I appreciated the fact that you were still present on the day Loyal was born.
Right.
You still took it upon yourself to try to solve an issue
Right.
that really was separating you from bonding with this child. You tried to do what was right. Ms. Loving, are you glad to know the truth?
I'm glad to know the truth too. I don't really know Mr. Talbert.
Well, you'll get to know him now.
And you know, one thing that I did ask him when he came to visit Loyal, if she's your child, what are you gonna do? That's
And
what I
what was
asked
his
him.
answer? I'd like to know the answer to that question as well. Since she is your child, what are your plans?
Stepping up and being a father and making sure I'm there for her.
Good. Mr. Williams, you say you knew Miss Smith 24 years ago when she was a promiscuous party girl. You are furious that after a chance meeting 20 years later, she is now claiming you fathered her adult daughter, Alexis. Miss Smith, you say there's no doubt Mr. Williams is the father of your daughter, and you told him as much 24 years ago when he chose to ignore you. You say the plaintiff is claiming ignorance in order to make himself look better, but you intend to prove him wrong today. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Williams, why do you say it's impossible you are the father of Miss Smith's daughter?
Your Honor, it is highly impossible that I'm the father of Miss Smith's daughter for the simple fact that she was a party girl back in the day. Miss Smith was very promiscuous, but at that time, we were just partying, we were having fun, enjoying life. You know, we were young.
How are you enjoying yourself?
We was never in a relationship or anything. We would just hook up after a few drinks and stuff, you know, we'd probably go back to my place or whatever was presentable. And we'd have sex and stuff, but, you know, other than that there was nothing, we were never in a relationship, that's the bottom line.
Well, you say it's impossible you can be her daughter's father, but from what you
No.
just described, it sounds like it is possible
No,
you
hold
could
on.
be her daughter's
Let
father.
me show you something. Let me show you something here.
You brought some evidence?
Oh, I got some evidence. I
Okay.
got some evidence. You know why? Because I practice safe sex.
Oh.
That's why it's impossible.
Oh,
That's
you're
why it's
saying that
impossible.
you used protection
Yes, I use protection.
when you slept with her?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
All right. So that's good. So now,
Right, the safe
Miss
sex.
Smith, when you were having that sexual relationship and having a good time, did you use protection every time?
No, we didn't. No, we did
That's
not.
a lie. That's a lie.
Your Honor, no, we didn't.
This girl lies a lot. This young lady lies a lot.
He did not use protection. He knew I was in another relationship.
I never
And
knew
I
it was
did
another
come to him
relationship.
and told him it's a possibility that Lexi could be his. I
just-
did tell him.
No, you didn't.
And then a couple of years later, I didn't see him no more. I didn't see him no more till Lexi turned what, 24?
You knew where I stayed at.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
No, I did not.
Yes, you did. You knew
So
where I
what
stayed.
happened 3 years ago?
She was up with some of my friends of mine, partying. She, like I said, a party girl. And they were
3
telling
years
me-
ago, still partying?
3 years ago, I
Yeah,
was not partying 3 years ago. 3 years ago, I was in the church shouting, changed my life and everything.
Still
so I don't
partying.
know what he do. No, I don't.
Still partying. She may not now, but that's how I found out about the baby, about the young lady who's supposed to be my daughter from some friends of mine.
So wait
No,
a minute.
I
Back in the day, you were never informed that she was
I
pregnant.
was
and
never told about she was pregnant. She never told me anything until, like I say, friends of mine came and told me that they say, you know, somebody named Gin and Juice. I'm saying Gin and Juice.
Gin and juice.
Yeah, who in the hell is Gin and Juice? And so the guy say Virginia. I said, Virginia? I said, yeah, I know a girl named Virginia. You know who they had dealing with back in the day. Well, somebody said, well, she said she got a baby from you. I said, well, Virginia lying. I don't have no child from Virginia.
Miss Smith, was that you, Gin and
It's-
juice?
Excuse me.
Yes, Sean, that's the name they used to call me, yes.
Okay. I won't ask no questions. That way you don't have to tell me no lies.
I'm not gonna tell you no
All
lie.
right. So I won't ask why they called you that. But anyway, Mr. Williams, 3 years ago, you start hearing rumors.
Rumors about I had a child, yeah. Then we saw each other on the bus at that time. This was around about that time, too. And she was telling me that your daughter want to talk to you or something like that there. I said, what you mean? My daughter want to talk to me. Who is you talking about? I'm still trying to figure out who is she talking about. I still didn't know no name or nothing. And so she gave my number and said, call me. So, okay, I called her.
Miss Smith, did you run into him on the bus?
I met him on the bus, and he asked me how my daughter doing. I said, she's doing fine. When Lexus got back here in Orlando to move back, he came to my house to see Alexis a couple of times to my house.
One time.
More than one time,
One
twice.
time. And then me and Derek came this past December. That's twice.
And how did the visit go?
We talked. I said, well, your mama said I'm your father, but your mama lied a lot. And I told her, that's what I told her. But she started saying, well, you the daddy. No, I'm not the dad. I'm not the daddy, baby.
So you came all the way over there to tell her that you were not her biological father?
I come to look at the child. They always say you can
came
take
there and sat there, ate with us and everything, and jiggled with us and talked.
Yeah, I mean,
you asked me, could you stay over there that night? And I told you no. So get it right.
I was gonna be cordial, yeah, because I'm not that type of person.
Hold on. Alexis, I want to hear from you. Was this the first time you were ever told that Mr. Williams was your biological father?
Besides the day that they seen each other on the bus.
Until then, you had never known Mr. Williams was your biological father?
I only heard his name one time.
In your life?
Yes, ma'am.
Who did you think your father was?
I called my granddaddy and my uncle daddy.
Wow. Okay. So how did you feel when you finally heard you were going to meet your biological father?
Happy.
You did? And you felt happy?
I was excited.
I'm sorry we had to go through this, but there's no possible way you can be my child.
So wait a minute, Mr. Williams. Before you get to that conclusion, I want to hear from Alexis. I mean, at this point, you've never had an opportunity to meet your father. How did that visit go for you when he came to visit?
I was excited. I enjoyed the time.
Take me back to that day and tell me what happened.
I was coming home from work, and my mama told me that my daddy wanted to see me and talk to me, and I said, okay. When I got there, he was already there. We hugged, we talked, laughed a little bit. We had dinner. Not one time did he say he wasn't my father.
So you felt like, in that moment, your daddy had come to visit you?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you feel a connection like he was your dad?
Yes, ma'am.
I didn't want to hurt the child's feeling. We all have feelings, and I just couldn't hurt a feeling. I couldn't hurt my child, her child, anybody's child feeling. Just say, oh, well, I'm not your daddy, you know. But since I got to this point, I'm telling her now that I'm not your father. I mean, it's the bottom line, I'm not your father. From one parent to another, I don't think that is my child, and I'm adamant about that there.
So, Ms. Smith, I want to know from you, why did it take you 21 years to tell your daughter who your father was?
Me and her talked, and I told her, I say, it's possible this person might be your dad or this one.
It must be that one.
When did you tell her this?
I told Lexi that she was young. I talked to her, then I just let it went by. Because at the end of the day, I took care of them anyway. I got 4 kids. I took care of all 4 of them.
4 kids,
I'm not depending on no man, him.
No, the daddy.
No, sir.
See, there you go lying again.
I'm not lying.
No.
I figured that it was Mr. Williams on. Yes, I did.
Figured and knew?
Figured if it's Mr. Williams or somebody else.
Are there any other options, ma'am, besides Mr. Williams?
It's one more.
There you go.
All right.
Just one more?
There you go.
Wow, so.
We need to get to the bottom of this and find out if it's my child or not, which I don't think, no, it's not my child. It's not my child for the simple fact, what woman in their right mind waits 21 years and then bring something up like this lady? That's foolish, that's ludicrous.
I wasn't finna run all over Orlando and try to find you.
You knew well when you coming to the house?
She had her mama.
When you was coming to the house, you knew where it was?
She had her mama. She's my concern. This is what we're worrying about right here.
Right, but Mom, listen, you cannot deny the part you've had to play in this.
You right.
Let's not just put it off on Mr. Williams.
I
The
ain't putting
truth
nothing on
is, for
him.
21 years, you basically got off with just saying your father is one of 2 men. And I mean, she's standing here now, God bless her, and she's saying, you know, my uncle and my grandfather gave me the love I need. My mother loved me, so I didn't grow up, because I hear a different story more often than that. I hear, I grew up my whole life wishing I knew who my father was. And everybody else at school had a father, but I didn't have a father, and that bothered me. The fact that she's saying, I got the love that I need is a beautiful thing, but at the same time, Mom, you had this information.
And it still was hard, but...
Mr. Williams, after you reconnected with Ms. Smith and Alexis met your daughter. And your daughter's name is Derica.
My daughter's name is Derica.
She's actually in court today. I'd like to hear from her. Jerome, will you please escort Derica Williams into the courtroom?
I'm going to have you go up to the witness stand right next to the judge.
Hi, Ms. Williams.
Morning.
Thank you so much for joining us today. As you know, we are talking about the paternity as it relates to Alexis.
Right.
And we understand that you are Mr. Williams' daughter.
Yes.
And I would like to hear from you personally what you feel as it relates to the paternity of Alexis. Do you believe Alexis is your biological sister, that you share a father?
No.
I do.
Look at the two of them. Look at the two of them. They don't even look alike.
So I do believe that Alexis is my sister. We look just alike. We act alike. We have the same personalities. Like, just, she was all sad and stuff. Just look at us. It's just a connection that we have. I really do believe she's my sister. I know that there's some doubt, or, you know, maybe some things didn't go right back 24 years ago, and, you know, her mom didn't tell everything. But when I called her, I let her know who I was, that I was Derek's daughter, and that I wanted to get to know them and see if they were my family. And ever since the beginning, they've been there. Well, since I found them, or we found
When
each
did you
other.
find them?
After they met on the bus, my dad was calling Miss Smith, and she wasn't really responding. I think she had maybe gotten to the hospital or something. But when I called her, she actually answered, and I told her who I was, and that I wanted to get to know Alexis, and we exchanged numbers, and ever since then,
I gave you the number
we've
to
been
call
talking.
her, because she gave me one. Her Alexis one gave me the number, and I gave it to you, and told you to call and talk to her. Because, like I said, she's not my child, and that's the bottom line.
You can look at the photos and tell there's something there, something.
Yeah.
You see the cheekbones, the eyes.
So why do you think your dad
cheekbones.
does not believe,
Well,
Alexis is his biological daughter?
due to apparently Miss Smith was promiscuous, and also when we did go to her house, because Alexis did do my hair one day. I came down to Florida, had some family to
Christmas
see,
Eve last year, this past year.
she did my hair, and we were talking with her mom, and she did say that she didn't let any of her kids know, let the dads know that she was pregnant when she actually got pregnant. So, you know, who does that? I don't know.
So Alexis, you and Derica have formed a real sister bond. Does that feel good?
Yes, ma'am.
Does that make you even more nervous to find out whether or not he's your biological father, because it places at stake whether or not you truly are sisters?
Yes, ma'am. It made me nervous, got butterflies, but...
What have you learned about Mr. Williams through your sister?
He loves her a lot. He cherishes her.
That's
And
my
you
baby.
say that with tears.
That's my baby now.
And why does that make you feel like that, honey?
Because I never had that.
And that's something you want as well.
Yes, ma'am.
And you deserve.
Yeah, well, I ain't gonna deny she deserve to know who her dad is, but hey, let's need to find who the dad is then.
Well, one thing about this courtroom, if you find the courage to walk through those doors, you're gonna leave out with the truth. That's what we do here. That's why we're here.
I think they look alike in the face. Oh
Hey,
my, he tries to deny
we
it.
don't look nothing alike.
This whole area right here, especially when they smile.
Look at mama's face, her cheeks. She
they
got
look
big
like
cheeks and
twins.
stuff.
I don't know what eyes
Listen.
he's viewing out of.
Listen, Mr. Williams, you have been adamant that you are not Alexis's biological father, but you have also said that you participated in the type of activity that leads to making babies.
Well, yeah.
And therefore, I believe we have heard enough, and I'm ready for the results. Jerome? These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics and they read as follows. In the case of Williams versus Smith, when it comes to 24-year-old Alexis Smith, it has been determined by this court, Mr. Williams.
Yes, ma'am.
You are not the father.
There you go. I rest my case, Your Honor. Look out.
You are not the father.
Can I give her a hug?
If she will allow you.
Look out. I'm sorry. But, hey, it's out of my hands now. Only God can help you.
Your Honor, I know who her father is. I know who he is.
What the?
I'm talking about since he said that since it ain't him, I know who the other guy is.
You do.
Him all
And I
alone.
do.
Do you know where he is?
Yes, ma'am.
Alexis, do you know who this man is? You don't have to say who he is, but do you know who he is? You do?
I don't believe it.
But you don't believe he's your biological father either? Why, honey?
We don't got no bond. We don't got nothing in common. We barely talk.
This other man? Your mother was honest with you and told you this could be your father too?
She told me about him, but I don't see it.
You don't see it?